get some extra.
Thank you for participating in today's meeting. If attending in person, please do not connect to Zoom or teleconference while in the room, and please silence all devices. If translation is provided, click on the globe at the bottom of your screen to select either English or Spanish. Public comment will be taken after each item. If you're in the auditorium and wish to comment, please use the iPads located in the lobby or complete a blue speaker card as available. If you need assistance, please find a South Coast AQMD employee. Speakers may be limited to a total of 3 minutes or less for all agenda items. Times may be shortened to ensure all speakers can be heard. A countdown timer will be displayed on the screen for each public comment. More time will be allotted for Spanish translation that is not simultaneous. For questions or issues on making a public comment, please call the public advisor at 909-396-3247. That's 909-396-3247. Please adhere to the speaker time limit and treat others with courtesy, civility, and respect. Failure to do so can result in your mic being muted or you being removed from the meeting. Be aware that this meeting is being recorded. By participating, you authorize recording of audio and visual content presented during the live event and consent to subsequent use of the recording in the public domain by South Coast AQMD.
Gracias por participar en la reunión de hoy. Si asiste en persona, favor de no conectarse a la conferencia telefónica o Zoom mientras esté en el auditorio y silencie sus dispositivos. Si traducción es disponible, haga clic en el icono de globo en la parte inferior de su pantalla para seleccionar inglés o español. Se tomarán comentarios del público después de cada punto. Si se encuentra en el auditorio y desea dar comentario, utilice los iPads ubicados en el vestíbulo o complete una tarjeta azul según esté disponible. Si necesita ayuda, localice a un empleado de South Coast AQMD. Los comentarios pueden ser limitados a un total de 3 minutos o menos para todos los puntos de la agenda. El tiempo límite puede ser reducido para que todos los comentarios puedan ser escuchados. Se mostrará un temporizador de cuenta regresiva en la pantalla para cada comentario público. Se asignará más tiempo para traducción al español si no es simultáneo. Si tiene preguntas o problemas sobre cómo hacer un comentario público, llame al asesor público al 909-396-3247. 909-396-3247. Respete el tiempo límite y favor de tratar a los demás con cortesía, civilidad y respeto. De lo contrario, es posible que se silencie el micrófono o que sea retirado de la reunión. Tenga en cuenta que esta reunión está siendo grabada. Al participar, usted autoriza la grabación de audio y contenido visual presentado durante el evento en vivo y da su consentimiento para el uso de la grabación en el dominio público por parte de South Coast AQMD.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the December 6, 2024 hybrid meeting of the South Coast Air Quality Management District. And I'd like to call this meeting officially to order. Welcome all of you here, staff, witnesses, friends, people on Zoom. First, I'd like to call Mayor Larry McCollin to do the Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join me as we salute the flag that represents our republic. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to take a roll call, please.
Mayor Locke Dawson. Here. Supervisor Hagman.
Here.
Board Member Krakoff. Here. Mayor Pro Tem McAllen.
Here.
Supervisor Mitchell is absent. Board Member Padilla Campos is absent. Supervisor Perez is absent. Councilmember Rahman is absent. Councilmember Rodriguez is absent. Assemblymember Solache.
Present.
Supervisor Wagner.
Down here by myself.
Vice Chair Caciotti.
Here.
And Chair Delgado is absent.
Thank you. I know the chair is on her way. There was a shooting on the 60 freeway, which caused a lot of us to take alternate routes, and they've just opened it up several minutes ago. So now, fellow board members, are there any opening comments? The chair is here. She got through that bad traffic. Board members, any comments? I don't see any hand. Oh, yes, assembly member, please.
Should I go now, Mr. Vice Chair?
We're gonna honor you a little later. Do you want to make some comments now about something, or it's up to you?
I want to make them brief before we make any votes. Is that fair?
Up to the chair.
Yeah, okay. So, no, I'm saying, can we get, before we get to any votes or fine?
We're gonna get to it before.
Okay, perfect.
Hold on just a minute.
Oh, wait, thank you.
We'll be ready. I just have some photos. Are those photos ready? So on the way home after last week's board meeting, I was on the 60 freeway, bumper to bumper traffic. There's a large truck. You say, why would I take that Class 8 truck and a trailer? Next picture. And you look right there. Is there another picture with the truck, or is that the last one? Let me see. Go to the next one if there's one with a truck. Go back one to the truck. And on that truck, you'll see it says there's a South Coast AQMD insignia. That was a NFI truck, and Aaron knows it was part of a Volvo Lights program. It was an all battery electric truck. It was great to see. One of the projects we've supported with dozens of electric trucks out there. Does anybody know what Volvo Lights stands for? I know Aaron does. I had to look it up again. Larry, do you remember? Low Impact Green Heavy Transport Solutions, right, Aaron? That was it. It was a great program with 14 partners, and it was great to see it on the road. Next. And finally, this was the National League of Cities in Tampa Bay, went out there to talk about the first electric police fleet in the United States. About 150 people were there. That's Enterprise Rent-A-Car, where we rent most of our vehicles, National Leasing. It was an exciting day and a lot of calls. That's it for me. Chair, you want to take over?
Sure. Thank you. So sorry that I was late, everybody. All right. No other board member comments? I'll turn it over to Wayne.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just a few items that we wanted to highlight. One regarding AQMD staff and our efforts in the community. As you know, we've embarked on a program with Habitat for Humanity. Yes, if you could bring that slide back up. Our staff has worked throughout the region, building homes and cleaning properties. And on November 2nd, we had a team build day in Southeast Los Angeles with Habitat for Humanity, and that's part of the team that was there. So just wanted to highlight the fact that, we do know what it's like out in the community. We're doing our part to help build the community. And this is just an example in Southeast Los Angeles. So thank you for that. Just other couple of housekeeping type comments. Our January board meeting is going to be on the second Friday of the month. That was to accommodate the holiday, New Year's holiday, which would have been like right before a board meeting. So that means the January board meeting will be on January 10th, and all subsequent committee meetings will be pushed back 1 week. Also wanted to note the governing board retreat and the April governing board meeting will be held in Palm Desert on April 3rd and 4th. We'll be sending out reminders, but just wanted to get that on your calendar as soon as possible. And that concludes my comments, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Mayor Lock-Dawson, did you have something?
Oh, I did. I just wanted to announce an exciting partnership that we signed an agreement in Riverside with this past week. Some of you may have heard there's a company called Vol2, and they are a mid-sized truck, like a Ford F-150 kind of size truck. And they're all electric, and they have a very interesting technology. We signed an agreement with them. They were putting their headquarters in Riverside. They're from Argentina, and they are going to be bringing 700 jobs to our region, making Riverside more and more prevalent and noticeable on the global stage for clean and green technology. So very excited to welcome Vol2 to the city of Riverside.
That is exciting. Supervisor Perez.
Just very quickly, Madam Chair, colleagues and staff and constituents, I think congratulations are in order to Mr. Solache, our team member here. He won by a landslide. for the State Assembly. Is that correct? And have you been sworn in already? All right. So the reason why I bring it up, because obviously he's a friend, and we're always looking for friends in Sacramento. And not to put him on the spot, but I do think that he'll be working with us, I'm sure. Especially knowing that Eduardo Garcia, who was an individual who worked with us on many fronts regarding legislation and trying to figure out who we can lean on, I think Solache will be one, as well as others. But I think it's important that we recognize, obviously, his good work here, and he's now moving on to bigger and better things very soon. So
Sure about
congratulations, felicidades. Or maybe not, but at the end of the day, he'll be out there.
Thank you. Gracias.
Gracias,
That's
gracias.
actually perfect timing. I'd love for the assembly member to come up to the flag area while I read some remarks. So it's an honor to recognize Assemblymember Jose Luis Solache for his exceptional leadership and service to the community. In 2003, Assemblymember Solache made history as the youngest elected official to the Linwood Unified School District. And he served 3 terms, including president. He's helped shape the future of over 15,000 students, supported teachers and staff with his vision for success. He was elected to the Linwood City Council in 2013 and worked tirelessly to uplift children, families, and community. And Assemblymember Solache joined us on the governing board in 2023, and he's helped advance clean air and healthy communities across the region. Well, as you prepare to serve, Solache, you will be very missed. It was wonderful to have him on the board. I've known Solache for a long time, and we share birthday month, which, yeah, it's always been fun. But I'm so, so proud of everything that I know you're going to do for our communities, and I can't wait to see what your leadership is. And with that, I would like to present you with this beautiful crystal in honor of his service, and so he doesn't forget us.
Should I do words?
The chair wanted me to sit at her chair, but I think I think Derek got to do that, so I don't want to do that. With that, I wanted to make a couple of comments, and I thank you for indulging me in this. But first and foremost, it's been an honor of my lifetime to serve as a representative of 55 cities of the 88 in LA County. I know one of my board members kept saying, well, your district. Well, I'm very proud that I represent, thank you, I represent 88 cities. And for someone that comes from communities that are impacted like Sela, I live in Linwood in the middle. If you look at my house, my partner and I could see the 105 freeway and the 710 freeway. That's our view to our house. So when community came and made comments, it hit home because I live in those communities. And so for me, I just wanted to highlight where home is for me and what I represent. I have the open door policy sitting on this board with dozens of stakeholder meetings with labor, EJ advocates, industry, and AQMD staff. And I listen to all sides and try to make the best decisions possible for our residents. I went on many tours, which is my favorite part because there's no better thing to do than to take tours and see. I actually went to refineries. I wanted to see the fence line monitoring. I wanted to see what that looked like. And I witnessed for myself where they were located, what was happening, and just to really understand the work there. I wanted to go to the Vernon plant, which is in my district, to the ethylene oxide. I want to see that issue firsthand as well. And I saw that and how it actually happens on a daily basis. I served on the legislative committee working to advocate for bills and legislation to advance clean air in region. Highlight was meeting with the US EPA. I got to meet with the EPA on a dual hat. I sit on SCAG as our president, Hagman, and I got to sit with EPA, obviously doing the dual hat of AQMD. Obviously, I got some talking points from my staff to make sure that we were on messaging. But as you all know, EPA plays a critical role in the work that we do here at the South Coast. The board passed meaningful regulations and policy to reduce toxic air pollution, such as reforms to the fence lines and community air monitoring for refineries, flaring NOx emissions from large water heaters, small boilers, and process heaters, and long sought-after indirect source rule for rail yards. Finally, the South Coast AQMD has made tremendous progress in cleaning our air. In fact, in the most recent multiple air toxic exposure study, MATES found that air toxic cancer continues to decline in the basin by more than 40% from previous 5 years. This health study has also found that air toxic cancer risk decreased by 57% in the EJ communities overall compared to a 53% reduction in non-EH communities. I am proud of the work I did on the South Coast AQMD Governing Board. I want to thank you all for the opportunity to represent the community and the residents. This seat is elected by the other 54 mayors in the 88 cities. So representing coastal cities like Santa Monica, Avalon, industry cities like Carson, Vernon, to the EJ communities that need our representation, like Glenwood, Southgate, Compton, Long Beach. So the responsibility that I took, I knew what it was, but I could tell you more that it's been great working with these fine people on this board, people that bring experience. But at the end of the day, your voices is what matters as well, because you're the ones that live in these communities. And so I want to thank all of you. I want to thank those folks in industry that invited me to visit their businesses, because that's the best experience that I think I got to see them as well, but to listen to our community. No plan intentional that I was on the legislative committee, because now I got a real perspective on what AQMD does legislatively. And as much as we're going to miss Derek, I know this amazing woman, Lisa Tanaka, was now in that position. So I look forward to her has my direct cell phone number, and we want to work together. And I also appreciate the work that was done here with our DEI and ensuring that our employees have a voice. And so for that, I'm also proud of our employees here, the work that they do, my hat's off to all of you. The expertise that you bring to this agency is critical to protect community. And I just want to thank that we were able to partner with our labor, our Teamsters, and we would deliver results for our employees so that they live dignified lives as they do the critical work in this agency. So with that, Madam Chair, I'm excited to the next journey. I am a little sad to depart this board because it was a 2-year journey. Not long enough, but sometimes I feel like I was here for 20 years based on all the work that we did. But again, I look forward to being a voice in Sacramento. My partner and I are excited to continue the work. And thank you all and individually for your work, your voice. Gideon has been a good mentor as well, and has provided a lot of good feedback and has a lot of good background to then sitting with people like my SCAG board members here we have dual hats. So I look forward to just being hopefully a voice and hopefully our different experiences and backgrounds that we bring to the table, I bring to Sacramento. So again, we did some work here in AQMD. I'm happy with our votes, our results. And even though I would tell my mom and my dad I'm not perfect, we work hard to make sure that our work ethic was always there. And I could not leave this board without coming and say thank you and goodbye, because that's the right thing to do. I don't just walk away. I'm present because our voices matter in these type of boards. And I wish the next person the best of luck, as he or she or they will be having a difficult job and not difficult, sorry, a big responsibility in the challenges that come forward. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for all those great conversations, especially with our AJ communities. They're very passionate, as they should be. And I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart for all those conversations. And again, last thank you to all the folks that invited me to take tours, because it really helped understand how the district really works. And to Wayne, Bay, just a big thank you to both of you for just being the leaders of this board and this agency, and thank you and wishing you all the best of luck. I know I don't speak that much, but today I had to do it as a big thank you. And thank you all for indulging. To the new board members that have joined, good luck to all of you. And again, thank you to all your voices that are very important to protect community. Gracias de corazón. I'm proud of the work. Y que siga la lucha. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So with that, I'm respectfully I've submitted my letter of resignation. I will be departing the board. As of Monday, I have been officially installed as the assembly member for the 62nd District, representing Lakewood, Paramount, of course, Bellflower, Linwood, Southgate, Huntington Park, Maywood, and Walnut Park. So we'll be working differently, but again, I will be walking away from this board. Thank you again. Big hugs to all of you, and we'll see you in Sacramento. Gracias.
Thank you, Assembly Member. See you on the green carpet. Oh, did you want to say something? No, sorry, I missed that.
It's tough to follow all that, but, and I know maybe some other colleagues, and also tough always to follow Manny, that always somehow in these occasions, you say always exactly the right thing every time. So it's hard to follow that, but we're newer friends. We met through this process, and it's been great to work with you and learn more about the communities, learn how you approach public service, the diligence that you put forward, the care, also the smiles and the good personality. And you ticked off all the things that we've done as board members, and I know that we're all very proud. We bring regulations really month after month at this board, whether it's rail yards or refinery flaring or oil drilling, ethylene oxide sterilizers, electric appliances. And we normally do this on consensus, with collegiality, with bipartisanship. And a lot of this comes from the staff and the preparation that is done day in and day out, and making sure that when things come to this board, they're ready for it. And that's the culture of the agency. That's the collegiality of the agency that has come from the predecessors, folks like the Benoits, folks like Bill Burke. And you fit right in with all of that. You were a good fit, and I wish we could have had you here longer. And I know, and I'm hopeful that your predecessors are going to bring that same spirit of public service and of a collegiality and understanding the mission of the agency to the work that we do. So it's been great to have you. And as Manny said, we know that you're going to be a good friend of ours in Sacramento, and that the relationship is not ending today. It's really just continuing, Assembly Member. So congratulations.
Thank you.
All right. Any other board member comments? Okay, Carlos?
Just a heartfelt thanks again, Jose, Assemblyman. Congratulations. A loss for us, but a huge gain for Sacramento. And we desperately need in today's context someone with your mentality, a consensus builder, someone that not only works diligently, but also looks to find middle ground. And we need that so much these days. So looking forward to hearing about the great progress that you make. And again, thank you for your legacy of service here. Take care.
Mayor Luck-Dawson?
Yeah, just real quick, I want to say thank you too. Jose and I came in together, and you are just what Member Rodriguez said, you are exactly what Sacramento needs. So thank you. Jose has that unique knack of being able to perhaps disagree with you or make a tough decision, but nobody ever leaves mad because he does it thoughtfully with a lot of conscientiousness and hard work. And he's done his homework and he's done it well. And you're incredibly gracious, but you're also forthright. And I just can't say enough wonderful things about you. So thanks for being a great colleague on the board and friend. We'll see you in Sacramento.
All right. Thank you so much for your service. And with that, I want to move to recognize our 25 and 35 years of service employees. Every year, we take the time to honor our long-term employees, those who have reached significant milestones in their South Coast AQMD careers. This year, we are recognizing employees who have completed 25 and 35 years of service at AQMD. Let's all take a moment to show our appreciation for those who have dedicated their careers to the AQMD's clean air mission. Their decades of hard work and dedication have helped improve the lives of everyone in our communities. And I understand there's a presentation.
Employees who reached major milestones in their career during 2024. Introducing employees achieving 25 years of service. Jason Aspel. Yvette Bradford, Keith Brown, Fortune Chen, Marjorie Eaton, Monica Fernandez Neild, Mary Leonard, Bradley McClung, Ricardo Morales, Walter Shen, Brian Vlasich, Mei Wang, and Victor Yip. Introducing employees achieving 35 years of service.
Wow.
Barbara Baird,
Yeah.
Renee Bermudez,
Wow.
Brian Cho, John Eckert, Laura Garrett, Marianne Gomez, Mitchell Haimov, Derek Hollenshed, Todd Iwata,
How many people?
Peter Coe, Henry Porzand, Deborah Rutledge, Susan Tsai, and Gilbert Vida. Please join me in a round of applause for all of these dedicated employees.
Jose Luis said that 2 years felt like a long time.
Madam Chair, as we honor a board member who's just leaving and all these years of dedicated staff work, I also wanted to honor a former board member that was here for many years. It was, and staff just attended yesterday a memorial for former Chino Mayor Dennis Yates. Dennis was one of my colleagues on the board. He served here on our board from February 2004 to January 2016, representing the cities of San Bernardino County. During that time, he also served as vice chair of the board and chaired the Stationary Resource Committee. He demonstrated his leadership to the board and the community. Those who knew him well knew he had a baritone, loud voice. He was strong, he was timely, he had a passion for our region and for the city of Chino. He was a coach. He was a champion for our career development. This is an interesting program, our South Coast AQMD Career Development Intern Program, which provides training. Remember when he pushed for this, and an introduction to the workforce for young adults that have been through the foster care program. In tribute to Mayor Dennis Yates, one of our former board members and a fighter like all of us, I'd like to have just a quick moment of silence. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Okay, well, let's move to general public comment period. This is for comments, items not on the agenda. We have quite a number of people who are signed up here. I'll go through those. We have 37 speakers. And again, these are for items that are not on the agenda. And we're going to start with Ma Carmen.
Madam Chair, can we reduce these to 2 minutes? I know a couple of board members are up against time. I want to be able to vote on the issue at the end of the meeting.
All right, yes, so 2 minutes. Ma Carmen, followed by Jose Avalo.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Macarmen González y soy residente de San Bernardino y estoy con la Colectiva Popular para la Justicia Ambiental.
Good morning. My name is Macarmen González. I am a resident of ¿de dónde es usted?
San Bernardino.
San Bernardino, and I am part of the Popular Collective for Environmental Justice.
Estoy aquí para recordarles que la contaminación sigue, pues pareciese que ustedes no tienen prisa, pero como siempre, las familias de la comunidad somos las más afectadas. Las enfermedades cada vez se agudizan más.
I am here to remind you that pollution continues, and it seems that you are not in a hurry. But as usual, families in the community are the ones that are affected the most. Illnesses are every time worse.
Las enfermedades no tienen fecha. Por ese motivo, la regulación de los puertos no queremos acuerdos, queremos una regulación. Es la más beneficiosa para toda nuestra comunidad y nuestra salud.
Illnesses do not have a due date, and that is why I ask for regulation of the ports. We don't want more agreements, we want regulation. That's what will be most beneficial for our health and for our communities.
Si hay algo que yo le pido a Santa Claus en esta Navidad, es que ustedes la hagan de Santa Claus y nos den una regulación para los puertos.
There's one thing that I asked Santa Claus this Christmas, and that would be for you guys to play Santa Claus and give us regulation for the ports.
Muchas gracias. El miembro decía que se quitaba el sombrero ante ustedes, la persona que se retiró. Yo me quitaré el sombrero cuando ustedes hagan una regulación para los puertos. Muchas gracias.
The member that just left said that he wanted to take off his hat off to all of you for your work, and I will do that the day that you guys give us regulation for the ports.
Muchas gracias. José Ávalo, followed by Luis.
Buenos días. Mi nombre es José Ábalos de la comunidad de San Bernardino.
Good morning, my name is José Ábalos, and I'm here from the community of San Bernardino.
Y estoy aquí con el firme propósito que se regularicen los puertos.
And I am here with the firm purpose to get regularization for the ports.
No queremos acuerdos. Los acuerdos se hacen por debajo de la mesa.
We don't want agreements because agreements are done under the table.
No sé si vengo a perder mi tiempo aquí, pues ya que hemos visto que la comunidad no les importa.
I don't know if I'm wasting my time here because we've seen that you don't care about the community.
Ya que se han declinado por los magnates de la contaminación.
Because you have bowed before the magnates of pollution.
Que la voz de una persona enferma.
Rather than do it before the voice of a sick person.
Nos vimos aquí hace poco y unas horas en Riverside.
We met here not too long ago and a few hours ago in Riverside.
Y mi amigo don Benjamín Luna estuvo toda la jornada esperando un buen resultado.
And my good friend, Benjamín Luna, was waiting for a good result all day long.
Y la frustración lo invadió.
He was taken over by frustration.
Y ahora él está enfermo, sin ánimo de nada, y ustedes lo defraudaron.
And now he's ill, he doesn't have any kind of a spirit, and you let him down.
No solo a él, sino a toda la comunidad.
You have not only let him down, you've let down the entire community.
Yo estoy de acuerdo con el asambleísta. Es mejor dar un paso de costado cuando no se puede. Ánimo, tocayo.
I agree with the assembly member. It's better to take a step sideways when you are not able to move forward. Go ahead. In my namesake, I want to give him.
Y no se les olvide, lo único que pedimos la comunidad es aire limpio. Regulación sí, acuerdos no.
And don't forget that the only thing that the community is asking for is for clean air. Yes to the regulation, no to the agreements.
Gracias.
Gracias, señor Ávilo. Luis, followed by Candace Youngblood.
Good morning, board. My name is Luis Carretero Cuevas. I'm a resident of San Bernardino, and I'm representing Center for Community Action and Environmental Justice, CCAJ. I just wanted to come here to say that I would really appreciate if we took the time and effort to develop a very proper port ISR and not something such as an MOU, because we know that we need better, we need lower emissions in our ports, and we also need to ensure that we track as well as collect the data for it, so that way we can keep up with maintaining a proper port ISR. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. Candace Youngblood, followed by Michael.
Good morning, Chair Delgado and members of the board. My name is Candace Youngblood, and I'm here on behalf of Earth Justice. I've been personally affected by the poor air quality in the South Coast my entire life. I live in LA now, but I grew up in Pomona, and I actually attended Laura Beer Middle School, which is 7 minutes down the road. And I was almost a straight A student there, except that I could never earn an A in PE because, like many of my community members, I have asthma. Many impacted residents have gathered here today because we care deeply about our communities breathing clean air. This morning, we gathered outside to write letters to the loved ones who will be missed during the holidays due to the health impacts of air pollution. I wrote my letter to my dad, who was a truck driver who died during my senior year of high school from lung cancer. And I wrote about the work that we're doing to clean up the air in the South Coast, including addressing freight pollution at the port. And I wrote about how he has profoundly shaped my role in that work. I will be submitting that letter as well as the rest of our coalition's letters into the record for each of you to read. This meeting should have been an important milestone as the board was scheduled to vote on some of the most extensive emission reduction rules in over 3 decades. Rule 2304 to address port pollution and Rules 1111 and 1121 to reduce emissions from furnaces and water heaters in our homes and buildings. But none of those rules are up for vote today because polluting industries and their lobbyists have pushed for delays. These industries are deeply threatened by any kind of rule that will require them to curb their deadly emissions. And they will continue trying to stall and water down these rules and file lawsuits in the new year. I understand that it takes real courage to stand up to entrenched and powerful interests and to hold them accountable for polluting our air. But that is what your jobs demand of you. Today, I am joined by community members from across the South Coast, and we urge you to make 2025.
Thank you so much for your comments. Michael, followed by Kim Orby. Michael?
Full name. My name is Michael Rockmus. I'm a volunteer with Los Angeles Climate Reality Project. I'm also a father of 2 young daughters. I've been participating in the Zero Emission Appliance Standards 1111 and 1121 working groups, and it's frustrating to see business groups and the fossil fuel industry come in at the last minute with requests to delay the rules, redo the analysis, and create new exceptions. They asked to delay the vote by 2 months for additional outreach, and from what I've seen, people want this rule. We have dozens of people here on a Friday morning to ask you to resist further delays and pass these rules at the beginning of the new year. People want government to work, and what that means is addressing big problems like air pollution and climate change, not kicking the can down the road. I ask you to listen to your staff who have followed all the proper steps, been very thoughtful in the analysis and writing the rules, and not the business interests who are using delay tactics. The appliance rules will lead to very significant emissions reductions, but it will take decades to see the full effect. Later is too late. My daughters are growing up now. I'm worried about the air they are breathing now and the damage that we are doing to the planet before they even finish elementary school. I urge you to stay the course and pass the appliance rules 1111 and 1121 in February. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Michael. Kim Orby, followed by Jason Vang.
Hi, good morning, Chair and board members. It kind of feels like a second home. I feel like I've been showing up to the board meetings a lot this year. Yeah, I'm here to just urge you all to support Rules 1111 and 1121. I've been really involved along with all of the other community members that are here today to make sure that we're passing strong life-saving rules. It is the leadership and responsibility of the AQMD to make sure that we are cleaning up the air, but importantly, protecting people, protecting communities. So I don't know what else there is to say other than I really urge you all to take the time to ask questions, reach out to us, reach out to staff, because the rules before you are really clear. We are cleaning up our air. we are setting protections for our community. And I hope that when we're back here in February, that this is the easiest yes you have to make that day, because we've been doing our homework. We've been showing up to working group meetings. We've been meeting with staff. We've been showing up to the governing board meetings. And I really urge you all to also do some homework and ask questions so that when we're here February, we are all excited and celebrating passing these rules. What else? Go Zero. I know I've been hearing a lot of just pushback on outreach and funding, and Go Zero is just a really exciting program that I can't talk enough about. And I know when people are bringing concerns around doing more outreach, there's literal funding in Go Zero so that those things happen. So just don't take lightly the responsibility that you all have to pass these rules. As you've been seeing, I'm sure on social media, on the news, we've had 2 really bad air quality days. And this is just the normal. And I hope that your goal, as well as ours, is that this is no longer a normal, that we have clean air days ahead of us. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for attending. Jason Vang, followed by Pete Marsh. If the speakers could come up when you're next, just so we can make sure to have time to listen to everybody.
Good morning. My name is Jason Vang, and today I'm here as a clean air advocate, a member of our community. I am part of a generation of changing tides in environmental and climate impacts. I'm here with several advocates and concerned community members of clean air, of our air quality. As someone who has been affected by these environmental impacts, who have members of my own family who have asthma as a result of these industrial plants. I urge the board to please, come February, for no further delays, to pass rules 1111 and 1121. Now is the time, before was the time, and in the future, we should always be looking ahead to help to regulate these health concerns before it even happens. Thank you. That is my time.
Thank you, Jason. Pete Marsh, followed by Ms. Vasquez. Pete Marsh. Aura Vasquez. Welcome. It's good to see you.
Thank you. Good morning, members of the board. My name is Aura Vasquez. I'm the Climate Action Committee Chair for the Sierra Club, Angeles chapter. I'm a renter. I'm a woman, and I'm an Afro-Latina who has dedicated my career to work on environmental justice issues. Today, I came here to urge you to pass the rules 1111 and 1121 during your closest meeting, which will be in February. These rules represent the largest emissions reductions effort in over 3 decades, and this will be monumental for you. Phasing out of fossil fuel power furnaces and water heaters will significantly reduce pollution and help bring our region into compliance with state and federal air quality standards. Your staff has worked tirelessly for over a decade to address the stakeholder input, including ours, with a lot of the people in our organization. So please don't let industry and don't let the fossil fuel lobbyists undermine this work by pushing for unnecessary delays or studies. These rules are ready, and communities like mine who suffer the most pollution and climate change will greatly benefit by this. So thank you so much for your leadership, and we hope that you can continue protecting our health and our communities for a cleaner future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Daryl Golden. Good to see you this morning.
Good morning, board. And the name is Farrell.
I said Daryl.
I got
Yeah,
you.
I said
I heard you. So, just want to be clear. But I'm here to talk about the ISR for the ports and the current process of going forward with the infrastructure first. And the infrastructure is an important part, but it should be last. For them to figure out, or anybody to figure out, how much infrastructure you're going to use or need, you have to have a rule, because that's the measuring tape. If you don't have the measuring tape, you can't tell the distance you're going. And it's important to understand that it is right now, I view it as a delay tactic by the ports to achieve other goals, to come back and say, look what we've done. But every day, people are dying in the communities. In my community of West Long Beach, we are at ground zero. We have 4 schools that their back doors are literally at railroad tracks, bringing goods and services in and out of the ports. One of them are closing because of low student enrollment, because all the students at the school have asthma. It is important to understand what you're doing so we can go where you need to be. We must reduce the negative health impacts that the port is putting on the community and not pay for jobs with our blood, because that's exactly what's happening today.
Thank you, Theo. Ali Han, followed by Christian Tapia Delgado.
Hi, good morning. I'm Ali Ham. I'm an attorney with Natural Resources Defense Council's Environment, Equity, and Justice Center. I'm here today to stand in solidarity with community members whose lives are being cut short by port pollution. While the Port of LA and Port of Long Beach are powerful economic engines, they should not be held above the law. AQMD has the moral responsibility and authority to regulate these entities. For years, emission inventories have shown that emission reductions have stagnated. These comparisons to the 2005 baseline create a skewed demonstration of extreme emission reductions, but in actuality, it's stagnated for many years, and that's something that we shouldn't miss today. Wilmington's cancer risks ranks in the top 2% for the entire basin, while West Long Beach residents have shown to have an 8-year shorter life expectancy. Those are staggering and shocking statistics that we shouldn't ignore. My question today for industry is, if you're not ready for regulation, then when? Why do community members who suffer such extreme health burdens have to pay for the profits that you take in year after year? The port's ISR is an important step forward to ensure that we are achieving true emission reductions. Investing just in zero emission infrastructure runs the risk of adding industry and development on top of already heavily industrialized areas. We need a plan for removing polluting industry. We need a plan for transitioning to zero emission operations. And I'm here today to urge AQMD to take the step forward for advancing the port's ISR. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Christian Tapia Delgado, followed by Fernando Gaitán.
Hi, good morning, AQMD board and staff. My name is Cristian Tapia Delgado. I'm a climate campaigner with Pacific Environment and a downtown Long Beach resident. A year ago, many of us were here advocating for a strong ports ISR that we thought would finally be ruled on. And today we're here with the same hopes and expectations that we had then. And while the ports ISR has continued to be delayed by the same industry tactics that we've seen time and time again before, our communities have continued to suffer. We suffer the detrimental health impacts associated with the polluting freight and logistics industry operations at the ports. But in spite of this, our communities have continued to show up for close to a decade now, and we're still calling on the AQMD to move forward with a strong regulation that will promise us emission reductions at the ports. We need a rule that will coordinate stakeholders and regulate the maritime industry. Ocean-going vessels and hovercraft currently make up over half of the NOx and diesel particulate matter emissions at the ports, yet we have no strong regulations that will get us to zero. Zero emissions, zero negative health impacts. We will continue to show up and work with AQMD to pass a strong regulation that will get us there. But with the incoming federal administration, who time and time again has denied climate change, we can't wait for someone to come and save us. We need all of you, our state regulators and elected leaders, to take action that will protect our well-being. We urge you to move forward with a strong ports ISR that will coordinate different port stakeholders, but also get the emission reductions that communities desperately need. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Fernando, followed by Yasi.
Just for, yeah, we can hear you. Yeah, I'm sure.
Let's go. There you go. Good morning, Fernando Gaetan with Earth Justice. I'm here today to underscore the significance of your work and the critical importance of the 2022 Air Quality Management Plan. This plan, a plan you passed 2 years ago, is grounded in facts and undeniable public health benefits. It is acknowledged it acknowledges the urgent need to transition to zero emissions across all sectors to achieve attainment. Your own data illustrates what's at stake. Reaching attainment would prevent thousands of premature deaths and save billions of dollars in public health costs. For example, every step that we take towards this goal for these benefits really do contribute to community health and well-being. For example, the zero NOx appliance standard rules are projected to cut 10 tons of NOx per day, an incredible public health opportunity. Similarly, the port rule would target one of the largest single contributors to NOx in our region, providing relief to communities most burdened by pollution. But we know the road ahead is not without significant challenges. Lobbyists from some of the most polluting industries have fought to weaken these rules, delay their implementation, and even resort to legal challenges. Yet this agency has risen above these challenges before, proving its commitment to public health and environmental justice. Now is not the time to stall. Last year, our region experienced more unhealthful air days than the year before, and this trend is expected to worsen without decisive action. Support your staff in getting these rules across the finish line without further delay. These challenges we face will only grow greater with time, but the opportunity to act is now. For the health of our region and the lives at stake, I urge you to adopt these rules. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sorry about the microphone. Yasi, followed by Monica Embry. Oh, that's not Yasi.
I am not Yasi. You are very correct, Ms. Delgado. No, she signed up on accident, so I'm just going to take her place. Good morning, everyone. My name's Taylor Thomas. I'm with East Yard Communities for Environmental Justice. I'm a resident of Long Beach, and I was very surprised that I came in and we again had to have our water confiscated, and there was also a heavy level of security. And and this, to me, in my mind, this sparks a conversation around how we think about violence. I think it's violent to assume that we come here to commit harm, that we come here to incite and provoke, when, as you can see, we're just here to talk about the impacts that we're experiencing in our communities. But to me, what is violent is when people in a position of power and decision-making choose to enact policies that are harmful or choose to delay life-saving measures. So I'm here with my community and people from other communities because we are in a crisis, right? A lot of people in our communities, including people in your communities, are sick and dying, and you all have the power to change that. We wish we had the power, but unfortunately, we were born into a system where a lot of our choices have been taken away from us. So again, I want you to reflect on your role here, especially as I see a lot of you. I know you're all busy people, but it's very jarring to see folks will be on their phones. They'll not paying attention to the heartfelt testimony that folks are bringing to you all today. So again, I just want you to underscore that violence takes on a lot of forms for us. And, you are in a position to do something about the things that millions of people in the districts based in are experiencing. So encourage you to drink your coffees and support us and support the health of the basin. Thank you.
Thank you. Monica Embry, followed by Mandira.
Good morning. My name is Monica Embry, and I'm here with Industrious Labs.
I'm here to thank staff and the board for their incredible work to pass really important rules and to call on you to not be bullied to weakening or delaying rules by the fossil fuel industry. This summer, you took historic action and staff did an incredible job alongside the board to pass Rule 1146.2 to start cleaning up industrial boilers and furnaces. And we are really encouraged that staff have already kicked off a great working group for 1146.1 and the 1146 series. And we need bold, clear action to help pass that rule next year because it is about our loved ones, as so many folks have shared. I'm one of those people who wrote a card, and I want to read my card to you. It's to my cousin, Claudine. Girl, did you see the Dodgers this year? Of course you did. You're our angel in the outfield. I miss watching games with you. I can't believe this is our 5th Christmas without you. F cancer. But also, F the fossil fuel industry, like SoCal Gas, that's fighting to weaken and delay life-saving rules so that they can make more profits while we lose our loved ones years too soon. I miss you. And that's why my friends and I are here today. We're here to encourage the South Coast Board to do the right thing and pass zero-emission life-saving standards, not allow industries to try and sue you and bully you into delay or weakening rules. Cousin, I wish I could see you soon. Rest in peace. Love, Monica. And we've got a dozen other cards that folks wrote today that we will be submitting. So thank you for doing the right thing and standing up for us, the community.
Thank you. Mandira, followed by Andrea Vidaure.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Mandira. I am a organizer with the Sierra Club and a resident of Los Angeles. And I wish for a day our air quality is so good, none of us have to be here. But since we're here, I'll start by applauding the progress AQMD made last year, especially with the Rule 1146.2, which will electrify water heaters and boilers, cutting significant amount of harmful NOx pollution. This is a crucial step toward cleaner air and better community health, but we can't stop here. I urge South Coast to continue this momentum by advancing Rule 1146 and 1146.1 in 2025. These rules are focused on mid-size and large boilers and heaters used primarily in industrial facilities, and they present major opportunities to reduce harmful emissions. The technology for zero emission solutions is available, and it's time to implement the standards that will drive cleaner industrial practices. The longer we wait, the longer our communities will continue to suffer from pollution that causes asthma, heart attacks, and premature death. We call on the South Coast AQMD to act swiftly and decisively to adopt these crucial regulations. Technology exists and is ready to be adopted. Let's continue this progress for our health and our environment. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Andrea, followed by David Martinez.
Hi, board members. My name is Andrea with the People's Collective for Environmental Justice. We're out of San Bernardino. We thought it would be a nice present for all of you that we would come in and say hi before the holidays. I've been reflecting a lot on the year, and it's been a really heavy year. And when you have 1 billion square feet of warehousing in the Inland Empire with electeds that have no shame to put them next to homes and schools and even displace entire communities in Bloomington, and they're trying to in Paris, you run into the issues we've been dealing with, right? You run into issues of losses in your communities, dealing with funerals, dealing with illness, the mental agony of folks dealing with fighting displacement by the industry, and then add the reality check that we had 3 weeks of wildfires in the Inland Empire, and we realized we're not ready for climate change and the impacts that come with it. So that's why we're here today. We thought it would be a monumental day for our communities, but it's not. And I wish I could be happy with all the stuff that we've done because there have been amazing things that have happened here. But we don't really have that privilege to stay happy very long because we have to go back to our communities and we have to still deal with people that are sick. And so we're here today and we're going to keep coming here today. We're probably going to come every single month next year because we're not motivated by money or profits, right? We're motivated by our families, and you'd be surprised how much that'll get people out, right? When you're motivated by that. So it's a really big disappointment to see y'all sitting on these rules that are life-saving, and you guys cannot keep letting the industries keep wedging themselves between the work that you have to do and I want to think that you want to do as well. So expect us here for the appliance rule, for the port ISR, a real one, and then to also start addressing these heavy industrial facilities in the new year. So thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. David Martinez, followed by, I'm thinking this is Amy.
Fine. Next one. Madam Chair and members of the governing board, I'm David Martinez, an Orange County resident and advocate with Climate Action Campaign. Today and yesterday, communities across Orange County and the South Coast region have air quality alerts. In Orange County, Santa Ana is bearing the brunt of the poor air quality. And one large contributing factor to this is the manufacturing sector present in Santa Ana and the region at large. Manufacturers today use polluting equipment near residents in environmental justice communities who continually and disproportionately receive the burdens of more pollution and higher health risks. Year after year after year, these industrial sources add air pollutants and toxic air contaminants that cause air pollution and burdens low-income communities, just like we're seeing today. This problem can be addressed using clean, zero-emission heating equipment already on the market today. We can reduce NOx emissions, improve air quality, and support both the workers and the communities near these manufacturers. I ask that the board continue the work already begun with Rule 1146.2 and move forward and pass future rules to regulate these industrial uses. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think it's Amy.
Ayn Creation,
Oh,
thank
Ani,
you.
I'm
Yes.
sorry.
Good morning, board members and staff. My name is Ayn Creation with Climate Action Campaign. We're a nonprofit climate policy watchdog in Orange County. And we are here to applaud this agency for its leadership on industrial electrification and urge you to move forward with urgency on 1146 and 1146.1 in 2025. We can't say enough that the South Coast Basin suffers from the most deadly air quality in the nation, with fossil fuel equipment as a major source of NOx pollution and deadly particulate matter in our region. I see it in my Irvine neighborhood near the El Toro Y, where the 405 and the 5 come together, where my daughter comes home from school. It seems like every week with stories of friends who are not able to participate in PE today because they have asthma. And once again, they're not able to both breathe and do PE at the same time. So the costs of industrial air pollution are real for families, even if they do not appear on the balance sheets of industrial equipment manufacturers or the gas industry. Residents and families pay for it in healthcare costs, in their productivity losses, in school absences and grades, and these air pollution costs total hundreds of millions of dollars in hospital visits and ER visits every year. So we urge you to protect the health and safety of our children, of our seniors and vulnerable communities, environmental justice communities, and all the families in our region. In this historic moment for our nation and for our world, we hope that will be your legacy. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Kyler Chin, followed by Michael.
Good morning. My name is Kyler Chin. I'm a student at UC Irvine and a member of Sunrise Movement. Research at Universidad Jaime I shows that nitrous oxide emissions from indoor methane burning caused 40,000 premature deaths annually in the European Union. And UC Los Angeles Occupational Health in 2020 showed that banning residential methane in California would reduce healthcare costs by $3.5 billion. The European Union is taking a strong charge on ending the use of natural gas. The Energy Performance Buildings Directive ended subsidies already for fossil fuel boilers in 2024, and member nations are ending sales too, like Nederland will cut the sale of fossil fuel boilers starting in 2026, complete ban. California must also lead in protecting people's health and the planet's health by banning and phasing out methane stoves as well. The AQMD should pass the proposed rules quickly to protect consumers. The AQMD must also support the reduction of emissions around ports by supporting electrified freight rail, moving containers in transport to the ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach. The pollution of trucks moving TEUs back and forth increases the risk of respiratory diseases in our communities, yet rail is so much more efficient. The creation of incentives to electrify freight rail in an ISR are permanent, cost-effective ways of reducing emissions. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Michael? Okay. Next is Steve Dunwoody, followed by Anna.
Good morning. My name is Steve Dunwoody. I'm a veteran, educator, and environmental advocate. I'm here as a member of the Sierra Club, and I agree with many of the comments made by my colleagues today. You know, I did a little research, and, you know, it stands to reason that the human body can go 3 weeks without food, can go 3 days without water, but only 3 minutes without air. And I think that speaks to how important your work is here today. Thank you. So we need your support. If essentially we need you in our communities to protect the health of our communities and the well-being, so that we can be able to have a higher standard of living and be able to make the changes necessary. So, you know, by giving us cleaner appliances, by giving us cleaner homes, with rules 1111 and 1121. So, you know, but in the coming year, we know that there is a new administration coming, and they've already signaled that they plan to weaken our air laws and remove funding. You know, so we have a tight window in order to be able to use a lot of the significant funding that is available that you know of, that be able to update appliances and technologies and get those rebates and other programs. So this is pretty urgent, and I would ask that you give our communities that chance to take advantage of these new technologies and programs to be able to protect our air so that we can breathe again. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Ana Solorzan, followed by David Lebetique.
Hola, buen día. Soy Ana. Vengo de la comunidad del aeropuerto de San Bernardino. Así como en nuestras montañas se concentra toda la contaminación del aire, cómo daña nuestras vías respiratorias, así como muertes prematuras.
Good morning. I come from the community of the near the airport in San Bernardino. In the mountains, the pollution gets more concentrated. It damages our respiratory tract, and also it causes premature death.
Los concurridos puertos del sector industrial del sur de California generan emisiones masivas, arrojando partículas y ozono, provocan muertes cardíacas, efisema pulmonar.
The very crowded ports and the industrial sector in the south of California generate emissions, and they also produce particulate matter and ozone. They cause death, cardiac illnesses, as well as emphysema.
Les pido que pasen una regulación fuerte, no más muertes.
I ask you to pass a strong regulation, no more deaths.
Una regulación fuerte para los puertos.
Strong regulation for the ports.
No más muertes, no más contaminación.
No more death, no more pollution.
Gracias.
Gracias por venir, señora Solorzan. David Lebetique, followed by Tanya Gonzalez.
Good morning, Chair Delgado, members of the governing board, David Lebetique, Deputy Executive Director for the Port of Los Angeles. Thank you for the opportunity to address you this morning. I want to echo some of the sentiments that were shared by the joint mayors in November 15th. Since the inception of the Clean Air Action Plan, the ports have continued and sustained significant emission reductions, but to achieve our zero emission goals, our shared zero emission goals, we will need to act with urgency. We will need to act and collaborate with across all stakeholders involved. Working together with you and with some of the groups in this room, we have obtained and secured historic levels of state and federal funding to accelerate zero emission equipment deployment, to drive and support workforce development and deliver community benefits. The funding that we've secured will enable us to do those things. That formula, I think, will be the key to maintaining momentum. And I think a focus on the development of the ZE infrastructure plan will be key to that. We stand ready to work with you, with our own LA Department of Water and Power, with business, labor, community groups, and environmental justice groups and leaders to develop that plan, accelerate deployment of clean human-operated cargo handling equipment, support emission reductions, create good jobs, and improve public health. So we look forward to continuing to work with you, and thank you to you and your staff for the ZE workshop that you recently held, and we continue to look forward to working with your staff in that regard. Thank you.
Thank you. Tanya Gonzalez, followed by Brenda Soto.
Hi, good morning. My name is Tanya. I'm with the People's Collective for Environmental Justice. I'm here again today. I've been here for the truck ISR, the rail ISR, and now I'm here for the port ISR. It's a lot, honestly. Every time we come, we keep on asking you to think about our communities. Your job is to regulate the logistics industry for them to stop contaminating our communities. And every time we have to ask you to touch your hearts for us, because somehow every time we come, you always find yourselves contemplating whether you should listen to this industry that has a lot of money or whether you should listen to the people who are dying because of these industries. So again, our air is pretty contaminated. I'm from San Bernardino County. I live in Fontana. All over the IE, we have so many warehouses, and I know I'm here to ask for a port, but everything that comes in from the ports comes into our communities, and it's impacting us the same way. So yeah, just listen to our stories, listen to our communities. We're slowly dying. I have family members with asthma, cardiovascular diseases, and all of this is, you can say it might be family history and all, but it gets developed at an earlier age because of all the pollution. So yeah, just think about us. Industry can come and cry and whine and say they don't have the money to regulate, but they do. They really do. So don't listen to them. Listen to us and do your job. Pass, develop, and enforce. That's the key word, enforce these rules. Not just the ports, but the trucks and the rails. Thank you.
Thank you. Brenda Soto, followed by Maria Reyes.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brenda Soto, and I'm with the People's Collective for Environmental Justice. We're based in San Bernardino, where we have some of the worst air quality in the nation. We have thousands of trucks coming in and going from the ports every single day. Despite having many sources of pollution that are harming our communities, you're still not doing enough to protect our communities. We need this agency to develop and pass a strong port ISR that goes beyond the bare minimum and that protects frontline communities instead of protecting the industry that is killing our loved ones. We expect that the port ISR serves to reduce emissions and require monitoring and record keeping to provide oversight and transparency. And like Tanya mentioned, we need to make sure that it's reinforced and that it's actually protecting our communities. It's time to get the job done. We need you to have the courage to adopt a life-saving port ISR. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Maria Reyes, followed by Renee from Port of Long Beach.
No, estoy bien. Sí. Hola, buenos días y gracias por la oportunidad de estar aquí nuevamente. Muchas veces he tenido la
Un
oportunidad de
momentito.
estar aquí.
Hello, good morning, and thank you for the opportunity to be here once more.
Estoy escuchando tantos testimonios, tantas palabras tan poderosas
I hear so
que,
many testimonies, so many powerful words.
que pienso que tienen tanto poder y quiero pensar que tienen el poder de hacer un cambio y mover sus mentes y
And
que tienen en qué trabajar.
I hope that they have enough power to move you so that you can exercise your power and do the work that you need to do.
Porque estaba muy emocionada por esta regla que van a ponerle al puerto,
I was very excited about this rule for the port,
pero me entero que no, que como que ustedes no se quieren enfrentar
but
o no quieren mostrar su poder que tienen de
I
hacer
see
un
that
cambio.
you do not want to face or use the power that you have to make a change.
Espero que se enfrenten y muestren su poder y confío que van a hacer su trabajo
I
porque
hope
esto
that
necesita un
you,
cambio.
I hope that you can face this and use your power because we need this change.
Porque ustedes piensan que nosotros podemos esperar, pero
You think that we can wait,
lo que no espera para hacernos daño es la
but
contaminación.
pollution is not waiting to harm us.
En un tiempo yo vine y dijeron que en el 2030 iba a haber un cambio significativo
A
y
while
yo no lo
ago,
estoy viendo.
I came and I was told that by 2030 we would have some significant change, but I'm not seeing that.
No tengan miedo, enfréntense a las
Don't
corporaciones.
be afraid and face the corporations.
Hay veces cosas que nos hacen daño, no tenemos que ser tan amigables con ellos,
Sometimes the things that harm us, we don't need to be friendly with those things
porque la contaminación y todo lo que nos hace daño alrededor no está siendo amigable con nosotros.
because pollution and everything else around it that harms us is not being friendly to us.
Y yo confío en ustedes que van a hacer su trabajo y quiero que en febrero me den la oportunidad de celebrar, que me lo den como un regalo de amistad,
I
porque
trust that by February you will do your job and that you will give this decision as a gift to all of us, as a gift to me, in February, the day of friendship, the month of friendship.
porque yo me pregunto qué es lo que ustedes necesitan saber para poder implementar
I wonder what it is that you need to know to be able to implement this.
o es que no estamos usando las palabras correctas o no nos estamos expresando
Or
en
is
el
it,
daño y en nuestras necesidades.
or is it that we're not using the right words or we're not expressing ourselves clearly enough about our needs and the damage?
No quiero sentirme sola. Yo sé que estoy
I don't want to feel alone.
por tanta colaboración, por tantos
I
comentarios
know that I am
que
supported by so much
venimos por
collaboration,
las
so
mismas
many comments,
necesidades.
and so many people that are here for the same needs.
Yo me considero una guerrera. Estoy involucrada
I
desde
consider
hace
myself a warrior.
30 años luchando por cosas
I've
que
been
nos hacen daño
fighting for 30 years against things that damage us.
y pienso que el puerto debe de contar con estas
And I think
medidas.
that the port should count with these measures.
Porque nos guiamos por medio de reglas y de medidas.
We all are guided by rules and measures.
Si yo no cumplo con tener un ID o una
If I
licencia o
don't
una
have an ID
aseguranza,
or my
estoy
license
violando
or
la ley.
insurance, I'm
Entonces,
breaking the law.
Gracias, señora Reyes. Renee, followed by Sesha Palos.
Good morning, Chair Delgado, members of the board. I'm Renee Moylanen, Director of Environmental Planning for the Port of Long Beach. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today. On November 15th, our mayor, Rex Richardson, issued a joint statement with the City of Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass. In their statement, they identified that it's critical to continue our efforts to collaborate with all of our stakeholders, environmental groups, environmental justice leaders, business, communities, and labor unions, to ensure we have the infrastructure and the human-operated equipment needed to facilitate the transition to zero emissions operations. Further, they expressed their support to develop a zero emissions infrastructure plan. At the Port of Long Beach, we agree that planning is vital to ensure that a broad scope of issues are considered and that appropriate actions are identified and taken so that progress is sustainable and successful. We've undertaken considerable planning actions with our industry partners that have helped us get to where we are today, but we recognize the need to continue to build on that foundation to ultimately lay the path to meet our goals of zero emissions. We appreciate AQMD staff holding their working group meeting on November 15th to discuss the need for port charging and fueling infrastructure planning. Through our work over the past 2 decades of good planning and implementation, we've been very successful in achieving significant emission reductions from port-related operations year after year. These reductions have been secured through partnership and action with industry and labor. We look forward to continuing to build on these cooperative efforts to improve air quality, support the economy and jobs, and protect the health of our local communities. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Sasha, excuse me, followed by Emmanuel Carrera.
Hello, board. My name is Sasha Palos with East Yards Communities for Environmental Justice. I'm a resident of Southeast LA, and I am here today in support of the Port Indirect Source Rule. We're here today because our communities have been affected by pollution brought by the ports. Our communities have high prevalence of respiratory and cardiovascular diseases. We have an increased cancer risk and lower life expectancies. For these reasons, among many others, our communities urge you to pass the Port ISR and incorporate the following 3 components. 1, it's reduce emissions. 2, develop plans and concrete benchmarks for zero emission infrastructure. And 3 is require monitoring and record keeping to provide oversight and transparency. I hope that at least one of these stories told today has resonated with you and that you think about it as you make the decisions come February. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Emmanuel.
Hello, board. My name is Emmanuel Carrera Rodas, and I'm a community member of ECR Communities for Environmental Justice and a resident of Sala. It's always comedic what we are fighting for. I found myself chuckling between throat tickles at each rallying cry for clean air. I grew up next to a 710, 2,000 feet from it, and my neighbors and family grew up with what felt like situational asthma. When we went to Mexico or a national park or other places, not by the 710, a lot of asthma symptoms just went poof. I dream of a day when we become conscious and put an effort into minimizing our unintended consequences. In my daily life, I've been in therapy, journal, and actively put an effort into changing my unintended, non-point source patterns, if you will, to build healthy relationships with those around me. I dream of a day where this level of personal responsibility expands to our local city levels, county, and state, and in this case, AQMD as an agent for regulation. I ask if I'm being passive and demand if I speak with the heart for a strong ISR that goes beyond supporting industry with funding and that have actual requirements that reduce emissions, that these 3 points, reduce emissions, develop plans and concrete benchmarks for ZE infrastructure, and that require monitoring and record keeping to provide oversight and transparency. I dream of a day where stickers and signs like these end up in museums and not continue to be printed. I saw a quote on the mural walking in here. Clean air is a right, not a privilege. Let's act like it. Thank you.
Thank you. Nathan Nunez, followed by Jocelyn de Real.
Hello, board. My name is Nathan Francisco Nunez Aranda, a member of East Yard Communities for Environmental Justice. As a resident of Carafe in Southeast LA, I firsthand see the harm of emissions along the 710 corridor. This corridor already feels the brunt of industry emissions such as refineries in Southgate. A strong, developed, and concrete, as well as transparent port ISR are needed to reduce emissions and health risks in this community. We need a rule, not an MOU. A delayed and or lack of rule will create further health complications that we will not understand until it is too late for our community members. Do not wait, regulate. Thank you.
Thank you.
Just for an announcement for people who are waiting, maybe online too, wouldn't be closing the public comment portion, maybe after the next speaker, Madam Chair. And what we're probably going to do so we don't lose any board members is after the people speak here during public comment, the people online will come back to you. We're going to go probably to the consent calendar into our public hearing item. We need to vote on that public hearing item. Thank you.
All right. Jocelyn Del Real.
Yeah, good morning. I hope we don't lose board members. We all came very far and took time off of work or all, to be here. So I hope we don't lose more board members. But hello, everybody. My name is Jojo Del Real with ECR Communities for Environmental Justice. But more importantly, as an impacted community member from Southeast LA, like many folks here, because as we know, what happens at the ports happens in the rest of our communities where industry has decided that their profits are more important than our lives. And as you've heard today, this work is very personal to us because when we have family members like my aunt, who I have to support in getting oxygen tanks, we don't take the right to breathe clean air for granted. That's something that is very deeply ingrained in us. And so I want to ask you all, why do you take our right to breathe clean air for granted? We're here to urge the board to develop and support a strong ports ISR rule that has been long overdue. And I do want to say we are already seeing the benefits of the warehouse ISR rule that you all have already passed. So we want to urge you to continue to bring those life-saving regulations to our communities. We want to see emissions reductions, transparency, and accountability. We cannot afford more delays from this board as industry keeps enacting violence in our communities. And I want to say that any delay from you all is also complicity in this violence. So our communities will continue to show up as long as it takes, and we ask that you also show up for us too. Thank you.
Thank you. Marvin Norman.
At this time, public comment is closed for the people online.
Good morning, Chair, members of the community. My name is Marvin Norman. I'm a San Bernardino resident and here also on behalf of CCAJ. And I'm just here to remind the board that a couple months ago we were in Riverside at CARB and we were presenting the one of the plans that we want CARB to approve in terms of getting our air quality plan. I believe it was the PM 2.5 plan. And part of those plans that we keep getting CARB to approve and the EPA to approve, et cetera, is based on making sure we make other actions that are not necessarily part of that plan, but which need to be done afterwards. And the ports ISR is one of those. And so it's concerning, to keep sitting in meetings with AQMD staff who are doing a diligent job on making sure that we are advancing the regulations and the rules that we need to make sure that we have clean air throughout the region, to keep sitting and going and seemingly spinning our wheels, going back and forth with the same nonsense, quite honestly. And hearing that if you regulate us, you're gonna cap our throughput, even as we continue to see the throughput continue to increase. I've signed up for the Port of LA and the Port of LB put out these trackers, and every day I open it up and see that how many containers they're projecting. And even as the throughput has not gone down, we do know that over the last several decades, air quality has improved, even as they are getting to a point where they're having some of the record years. So clearly, even though things can be improved, it doesn't mean that it's capping. So we should dispense with this nonsense that if we want clean air, that it has to come at the expense of ports, and just work on getting the regulations done. Thank you.
Thank you. Garza, followed by Thomas Jelinek.
Buenos días todos. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm going to be a little quiet. Mi nombre es Garza. My name is Garza. I'm here on behalf as a community member and my consultant group, Santos Group. I'm here to advocate for a strong port ISR. But in addition to advocating for a strong port ISR, I wanted to bring to awareness something to the port that's an important issue for environmental justice communities. When considering zero emission technologies, we want to beware and be very stringent of hydrogen or any of these other false solutions that are being pushed by industries. The Port of Los Angeles is ground zero for this technology. ARCHES, the state program, as in addition to federal funding, is coming down to the Port of Los Angeles to install this technology. As EJ communities, we are very concerned because even though tailpipe emissions will be reduced or completely eliminated by trucks and mobile sources, those pollutions are going to then be, go to the power plants where the energy being generated for this hydrogen is being developed. In addition to that, even though hydrogen seems like a silver bullet, it's not. This has nothing to do with this governing board, I should say. But to state for the record that hydrogen using steam methane reformation takes 4.5 kilograms of clean, pure water to produce 1 kilogram of hydrogen. And electrolysis, which is completely green, takes 9 kilograms of pure, clean, potable water to make 1 kilogram of hydrogen. So that's in addition to the calculus. So we want to make sure that this board is aware. And of course, to always promote zero emission technologies in the form of batteries and other forms. So thank you very much. Gracias.
Thank you, Garza. Tom, our last speaker here.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Delgado and board members for the opportunity to speak this morning. And I'd also like to give my thanks to former board member Salache for all the work he's done on this board. It was great working with him as well. As you know, we continue to make great progress reducing emissions within the port complex. Diesel emissions from the port is down 91%. And if we drill down into those numbers a little more, diesel emissions from port trucks are down 99%. Think about it, 99%. That's amazing. And those are the sources that move through our communities. And we continue to make progress today. Despite what you heard earlier, since 2017, NOx emissions are down over 30% in the port complex. So work continues. More recently, we were excited to participate in your workshop on zero emissions infrastructure in the port. We think that's a great step in the direction that we need to go. I want to remind everyone that in order to get to our goals of a zero emissions port, infrastructure is the key. Without infrastructure, we cannot do it. We're all moving in that direction, but infrastructure is the key. With the statement from the mayors of Los Angeles and Long Beach about the importance of infrastructure, the workshop that South Coast has hosted, I think we're now all moving in the right direction to ensure that we get to a zero emissions port through the infrastructure we need. And so I want to thank you for the efforts, and I would ask for your continued support as we move toward an infrastructure solution to a zero emissions port. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to turn it over to the Vice Chair.
Madam Chair, did you want to finish these 6 up or wait till later?
Only so we don't confuse whether they're trying to speak for this or the other items.
Okay, great. We have 6 speakers, and the last one to speak on the public, well, are all these speakers for public comment? Susan said yes. Okay, and our last speaker is Maya Nitschke Alonso. So we'll start with Al Sadler. Al, you've got 2 minutes. Go ahead, please.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you to the board and the staff for a good year, passing some good regulations. I thought that this was going to be a meeting where we were going to be discussing and hopefully passing rules 1111 and 1121, but instead speaking about that as a non-agenda item. So please move forward on that as soon as possible. I'm sure that the residents around Aliso Canyon natural gas storage field would be very happy to have less use of natural gas in the region, so that can be closed ASAP. And Thurl Golden talked about the school children who were afflicted by having trains going right by the doors of their schools. Those trains should be required to have their exhaust systems upgraded to be equivalent to the trucks that you're bragging about for this region. Otherwise, the health of those children will continue to be impacted. And I agree we need to move forward on the infrastructure for the ports, but we need to have a timeline and a timeline for doing that work so that we know that we will have clean air relating to the ports as soon as possible. Thank you very much, and let's have a really good year next year.
Thank you, Al. Next speaker is Harvey Etter. Harvey, welcome and go ahead, please.
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes, Harvey.
Okay, thank you. Good morning. First of all, this 2-minute thing is bull. If you can't take it, you should not be on this board. I've covered this before, incorporating that discussions in the past. Okay, number one, they mentioned what's happening with natural gas being shut off in Europe. Okay, we started that right here. I'm incorporating by reference our comments from August 12th of 16 about responding to Dr. Jensen that said there's been a 30% increase in natural gas in the last 12 years. Okay, those are the new numbers. It's over 400 with CO2 equivalent, not just 420 from CO2. Okay, and plus or minus 40. Now, this is 10, 12 years ago. Enough, man, enough. Okay, PM 2.5. Okay, that's killing 80, 90% of the people. Right now, that's with doing it here and everywhere else, and it's murder, etc. We brought this up in NATES, the advisory council, a couple of weeks ago, and Dr. said that last year in India, that in Calcutta and stuff, 39 million people, or Bombay, are exposed, and 12% of 12 years of their life less from PM 2.5. Right now in India, they're shutting down the schools. They're shutting down the industry because people are dying from this. Okay, it's not accepted as a toxic under federal law. We've got to change that to the legislative and committees right now. Do it in California and pass it in the country. All right. Also, I'm incorporating by reference Washington Journal the last few days comments about Trump. They said the violation of the 13th Amendment for insurrection, subsection 3. The Supreme Court overturned the Supreme Courts of Colorado. They said that they did not say he didn't do it. He did. He sworn in, said on the 20th by the head of the Supreme Court, that's illegal. It's insurrection, and he already violated it once, and they're not a party or a constitution ever. They violated the Constitution. Republicans are out. Enough. This is the real, and we've got to get rid of the court like we did back in the 30s, make it to 11 or 13. They're corrupt. They don't have any standards. They're owned by billionaires. This is the outrage, and they're taking away this recess appointments by the Senate too. Enough. We got to.
Thank you, Harvey. Next speaker is Chris Chavez. Welcome, Chris.
Yes, good morning. Good morning, board members. Chris Chavez, Coalition for Clean Air, and here standing with the community members and organizations before you today and supporting the Port Indirect Source Rule, as well as the proposed amendments to Rule 1111 and 1121. As mentioned today, or it was mentioned earlier, today was supposed to be the day that these rules would be considered. Instead, as it relates to the ports, we're starting a new process to discuss an unenforceable infrastructure agreement. We've been told repeatedly during this new process that this is not the time to talk about emission reductions because emission reduction measures may not pass this board. Well, I am here to tell you today that we need emission reductions now, not unenforceable plans. Instead of considering rules to phase in HVAC systems and water heaters, this board has chosen to delay consideration of these rules based on its colloquy with the opposition during the previous board meeting. And now industry is pushing to weaken and delay implementation of those rules by 3 years. The district is legally obligated to implement all feasible measures to attain air quality standards. You have a requirement to follow the commitments made in the Air Quality Management Plan and the AB 617 CERTs. I understand that rulemaking is hard. I understand that industry will fight any emission reductions and will move goalposts and will sue. But we breathe the dirtiest air in the nation. Air so dirty that it violates federal law. Air so dirty that it's illegal. I implore you to act. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next speaker is Jed Holtzman. Jed, welcome.
Thank you so much, Chair, Vice Chair, and Governing Board. My name is Jed Holtzman. I'm a Senior Associate at RMI, or Rocky Mountain Institute, and sorry I could not be with you in person today. As you know, the AQMD suffers from some of the most polluted air in the country and has consistently failed to meet federal and state air quality standards for more than 30 years. The LA Long Beach metro area has ranked first in the nation for high ozone days for 24 out of the last 25 years. And from 2020 to 2022, the region saw an average of 175 unhealthy ozone days each year, exceeding federal pollution limits more than 1/3 of the time. Under federal law, regions that fail to meet these standards must develop comprehensive plans to cut pollution. And because gas burning equipment in your residential and commercial buildings produces nearly half of the health harming NOx pollution that falls under the agency's direct authority and responsibility to control, this is a huge and critical part of your meeting those federal standards. Gas burning equipment in residential and commercial buildings releases 7 times more NOx pollution than the region's power plants, so it is not feasible to meet your mission while passing over these sources. Rules 1111 and 1121, along with Rule 1146.2 that you passed this summer, will eliminate the pollution from these sources. Analysis using EPA's Co-Benefits Risk Assessment Health Impacts tool demonstrates that methane gas burning equipment in residential and commercial buildings in the South Coast Air Basin is responsible for approximately 76,000 asthma attacks per year, about 30,000 lost days of school annually, 130 premature deaths every year, and annual health impacts valued at $2 billion. Achieving these benefits is your mission on this board. Compounding existing inequities, PM 2.5 pollution from residential gas combustion disproportionately harms people of color in California. Please pass strong rules and keep them from being delayed. February 7th is the day. Thank you.
Thank you, Jed. Next speaker is Clyde F. Clyde, go ahead, please, and welcome. Next speaker is Clyde F. Clyde, go ahead, please. We'll come back. Our last speaker is Maya Nitschke Alonso. Maya, go ahead, please.
Hello, all. Good morning. My name is Maya Nitschke Alonso. I live in Los Angeles, and I'm a volunteer with the Sierra Club Angeles chapter and a concerned resident. Today, I'm urging you to pass Rules 1111 and 1121 during the February meeting with no further delays. And I want to reiterate Jed's comment just now that almost half of NOx emissions that the AQMD has the responsibility to control come from gas burning equipment in residential and commercial buildings. That is a shocking statistic. And so this is an incredible opportunity to not only implement effective climate solutions, but also to protect our community's health. These rules are about your child that has asthma or your neighbor dealing with lung cancer, as we've heard today from individuals. And I'm tired of seeing the fossil gas industry win out over those concerns. I think it's terrifying that we live with fossil gas combusting inside our homes, but as a renter, I don't get to decide to make that replacement to a heat pump. So it would bring me tremendous peace of mind to know that if our furnace breaks, that decision will be made. There will be a requirement that is replaced with a cleaner alternative that won't be polluting our homes. And also that the same would go for the other tenants in my building. So please continue your leadership on building electrification and pass these rules in February, again, with no further delays. Thank you.
Thank you, Maya, and that now concludes our public comment period.
Okay, thank you, everybody, for your comments. Now we move to the consent and board calendar. Any board member comments, issues? Mayor Pro Tem McKellen?
Thank you, Madam Chair. For agenda items number 3 and 10, I don't have a financial interest, but I am required to identify for the record that I am the chair of the Mobile Source Air Pollution Reduction Committee, or better known as MSRC, which is involved in this item.
Thank you. Supervisor Wagner.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and on advice of council, though I do not have a financial interest on item number 4, I am required to identify for the record I'm a supervisor for the County of Orange, which is involved in this item. Thank you, ma'am.
May I add, I love the tie. Just seeing that now.
'Tis the season, ho, ho, ho.
Supervisor Hagman.
Thank you, Madam Chair. For agenda items number 3 and 10, I do not have a financial interest, but I need to identify for the record that I'm a member of the Mobile Source Air Pollution Reduction Committee, which is involved in those items. Thank you.
Mayor Luck Dawson.
Hi, yes, similarly, on advice of council for agenda items numbers 3 and 10. I don't have a financial interest, but I'm required to identify for the record. I'm the mayor for the city of Riverside, which is involved in these items. Thank you.
Supervisor Mitchell.
Thank you very much, Madam President. With regard to item 10, I do not have a financial interest, but I am required to identify for the record that I am a board member for Metro, which is involved in this item. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Rahman.
For agenda item 10 as well, I don't have a financial interest, but I am required to identify that I am a council member for the city of Los Angeles, which is involved in this item.
Thank you. Any motion, questions?
I just wanted to note for the record that Board Member Krakoff is recusing himself from agenda item number 2B because of a financial interest in Disney, which is materially affected by this item.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Let's go ahead and take a vote. There it is. Looks like that passes. 10 votes. Okay, that moves us to. Oh, Councilmember Rahman, do you still have a question? Okay, sorry. Okay. To our public hearing, item 26. Staff, if we could hear a presentation? Of course.
Good morning, Madam Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the board. My name is Kalam Chang, a Planning and Rules Manager, and this morning I'm presenting to you Proposed Rule 1159.1. Next slide, thank you. Proposed Rule 1159.1, it regulates emissions of nitrogen oxides, NOx emissions from nitric acid tanks. Unlike other NOx rules where emissions are formed by combustion, NOx are formed very differently from this universe. There are two formation pathways. The first formation pathway is through the reaction between nitric acid and a piece of metal. The picture on the right shows a typical nitric acid tank where it contains a bath of chemical solution, including nitric acid. When a piece of metal is placed into that tank, NOx emissions are formed. In other words, NOx are formed from a chemical reaction process. The second formation pathway is through the decomposition of nitric acid under high temperature. At room temperature, nitric acid is a liquid, but under high temperature, it changes from a liquid to a gas where NOx emissions are formed. Both of these formation pathways, they're not combustion related, and that's why there's no zero emission alternative. The only way to reduce NOx emissions from this universe is through the installation of controls. Proposed Rule 1159.1 is the last landing rule of the transition of the NOx reclaim program. It also establishes requirements for BART, best available retrofit control technology. Next slide, please. Thank you. This proposal is expected to affect 255 facilities. Some facilities have one nitric acid tank, but majority of them have multiple nitric acid tanks at the facility. One thing unique about this universe is that it has a wide range of operations. There are small facilities such as mom and pop shop that use small amount of nitric acid per year. In the other end of the spectrum, there are also large facilities such as reclaim facilities that use thousands of gallons of nitric acid per year. This proposal is drafted in a way to accommodate this wide range of operations. Next slide, please. Following technology assessment as well as cost effectiveness analysis, a BART emission limit is proposed. It is 0.30 pounds per hour. It is a mass emission limit. And at the request of a facility, we're also proposing a 99% control efficiency as an alternative. For facilities with high emissions above 0.60 pounds per hour, it is cost effective to install control to meet BART. For these facilities, they must submit their permit application by January 1st of 2026 and meet BART emission limit by January 1st of 2029. Next slide, please. Thank you. So what happens for facilities that have emissions below the limit? There are two alternative pathways for these facilities. The first alternative pathway is to demonstrate that their emissions are below the threshold through a one-time source test, which is an emissions testing conducted by an independent third party to verify that their emissions are below the threshold. A second alternative is to demonstrate that they're low-use facilities by tracking their nitric acid usage, and they must demonstrate that they meet two thresholds established in the rule. The first threshold is a threshold per individual nitric acid tank, and the second threshold is a facility-wide threshold. Thank you. It's expected that this proposal will result in 7 facilities installing controls to meet BART. For the remaining of the universe, they're low use, low emissions, so they're expected to comply with the 2 alternative pathways. Baseline emission is about 1.12 tons per day of NOx emissions. This is an upper end conservative estimation, assuming that all nitric acid reacts to form NOx. Cost effectiveness is about $37,000 per ton of NOx reduced, and emission reductions is estimated to be 0.11 tons per day. Thank you. In terms of the social economic impact assessment, it's estimated that the annual average compliance cost is about 2.28 million, assuming a 1% interest rate. Majority of these cost burden will be on larger facilities with high nitric acid usage, which are required to install and operate their control devices. It's also expected that about 34 jobs will be foregone each year on average. In terms of the California Environmental Quality Act, there's no significant adverse environmental impacts expected, so a notice of exemption has been prepared. This is the last slide, and staff have worked very closely with our stakeholders throughout the rulemaking process, and we have not identified any key remaining issues. Staff recommendation is for the board to adopt a resolution determining that proposed Rule 1159.1 is exempt from the requirements of CEQA and to adopt Rule 1159.1. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions before we take public comment? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Anybody who would like to speak on this item is welcome to come up. Don't see a rush of a crowd here, but let's check online.
None online? Is that correct, Susan?
Madam
What?
Chair, I'll move the item.
Okay, looks like
Harvey
there's-
Eder is
There's
online.
one speaker online.
Let's take Harvey and then we'll go.
Harvey, welcome, and please go ahead. You got 2 minutes. Go ahead, 2 minutes.
Hello, am I being heard?
Yes, Harvey.
Okay, yeah, you just cited it. Nothing. We are nothing. The people are nothing. All right? You did not call for
Thank you,
public
Mr.
comment.
Eder. This does not relate to this item. Can you please contain your comments to this item? Thank you.
Harvey, go ahead. Just focus on this item. Harvey, last chance. Please focus on this item.
That SOB has got to come down. Listen, you did not take public comments
Thank you. We
on
can
the
move
agenda.
on.
Thank you, Harvey.
Okay, with that, I'll close the public hearing, and I heard a motion.
Yes, in a second.
Okay, it was moved by Mayor McKellen and second by the Supervisor Perez. Let's take a vote. All right, and that item passes. That concludes our agenda. Do we have closed session items, Bae?
No, we do not.
Okay, well, we made it under the timeline that I was given, so thank you all. Have a wonderful holiday, and we'll see you next year.
Christmas card.
It's an honor.
I know.